Here, let's have a toast.
Toast to us.
To us. And hello, this is Lisa Bresick with the podcast We're All Psychic, and it's date night. This is my boyfriend Chris, and we're having date night. You know what he did? He said yes to doing a podcast with me. Isn't that just the best? So Chris, I would like to ask you a question.
Hello, Governor.
Hello, Governor. Would you like to answer this question?
Absolutely.
The question is, do you think we're all psychic?
Well, I think everyone is capable of being psychic, but I don't think everybody is. You know, not everybody uses as much of their brain as others. I think everybody is capable of being psychic, but only high IQ people tap into it. And that's just what I think. Yeah, I think people may have an intuition every now and then, but really, I think only the most intelligent people are able to really tap into it. Oh,
I love date night. I love date night, listeners. So Misty's not with us because it's date night. We don't do that in Alabama. As much as you've heard, no, we don't do that in Alabama. So Chris, you've given this some thought, probably especially a lot over the last several months since we've been together. Where did you come up with? What made you decide that as your answer? When I first told him about the podcast, listeners, way back when I lived on that other apartment, and he visited one day. We'd been friends for a long time. And I told him what the podcast was about. I said, we ask people if they think we're all psychic. He goes, hell no! So you've given it thought. So what do you think now? What made you change your mind or give it more of a thought?
Well, I think that I don't know what made me actually change.
Well, you think about it. You gave it thought. So, was it just, you didn't want to say no?
Well, I do feel like that. People are born with intuitions. Not everyone is able to tap into it. Like, some people can get it every now and then, but, you really have to be very intelligent or train your mind to catch it. And, you have, and there's other people who have. Yeah. And I think there's different levels of it. There's master level, there's intermediate level, and I think some people just don't know how to tap into it.
And what's interesting, what you said was the way you put it was perfect. It was like, oh, date night, guys. This is my second beer. I'm such a lightweight. You had said that it takes training the brain or something like that. You train yourself to notice and look. Well, it's not training the brain is the whole easiest way to do it. And it's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life is to train my brain to do a damn thing differently, to train it to think differently. And when I did that, it worked. My life got better. I trained myself to think that life was good, and I didn't just fake it, because that wasn't going to work, because you can't fake it. Yeah. You can't fake it, to yourself.
Can't fake it.
You can't fake that life doesn't suck to yourself. If you think that deep down in your soul, which I did. But then I realized, I didn't have to think that way, and I decided to look around at stuff I was grateful for. And that took years and years, and I fought it. But, using your psychic side, using your intuition and trusting it among all the naysayers of the world, just to begin with, I don't know if it's intelligence, but it takes either a real passion to pursue it, which is what most people have your answer. If you pursue it, if you go after it, but they've never really equated it to intelligence quite like you did. But, it's interesting, but to train your brain is a hard thing to do. And to even grasp training your brain. I had a therapist tell me about it for for 4 years. She was trying to teach me this basic concept. You can train your brain. And she went about it every week for like 4 years until I finally got it like 2 years after I moved, and then I couldn't implement it for another 4 years. And so, except in little ways, I can change my thinking. And that really helped later in life. I mean, just to learn that at 24, that concept when I had never been offered to me. That you can actually change the way you think, and you're not brainwashing yourself. It's not it's basically changing your mind, but it's not, it's not.
True.
So, what kind of experiences have you had? Like, you're a musician, so when you play music, do you think there's like a kind of chemistry, like a little like energy in the room when things are going well?
I think so. Yeah, definitely. When you build a chemistry with some bandmates, it's like an unspoken language, kind of, like the drummer almost knows what I'm about to play. The bass player almost knows what Shane's about to play. It's
Well, I had asked him, listeners, I had asked him like a while back. I told him I'd never been in a jam band, and I've been in a lot of different kinds of bands. Yeah. And listeners, if you've been listening, I'm a musician when I was younger. I still play sometimes. But,
still a great musician.
And he's very, he's good at being great. But, I asked him, I said to him, I've never been in a jam band. And that's how he was just explaining it to me. And I was like, that is so much like doing a reading. It's just a flow, an ebb and flow, or being in like a meditation where you're just...
It is.
Or like doing a healing therapy that's alternative, that's really for your spirit and your energy or something, like Reiki, and I've offered Chris Reiki before. He's like the only person I've given Reiki to other than Misty. And he seems to work.
It's awesome. I give it 5 thumbs up.
What do you think Reiki is? How would you tell people what that was, having never had it before or known what it was?
I think it's like a mental, emotional, and physical massage.
That's a really good way to put it.
Like you feel it in your mind, your heart, and your soul, and it doesn't last long. I mean, it's really quick, a couple minutes, but yeah, it'll totally reset your compass.
I've always thought Chris was very sensitive, listeners, and we were talking earlier about how people just tell us stuff, and I will just tell him stuff, and most people tell me stuff, but he gets a lot of people that tell him weird things and their life stories and stuff. So that's been all your life, right? What do you think that's about?
I don't know. I was an only child, so I've always been... I really never had to fight for attention, so I really haven't, been a big talker. So I guess it just made me a good listener, and then people just talk to me.
I never thought about that. Being an only child is not really competing for attention. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Most of the time people say, single, children without siblings there's something a little strange about that one. But they don't say that about you. I do want you to know that they don't say that about you. I don't say that about you. Well, there's something a little strange, but I like that. So Chris, is there anything you'd like to tell the listeners about that you've experienced that was that you can explain, that you would say it would be like you having a psychic experience?
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not a happy story, but when I think the first thing I ever noticed when I was a kid, I was about 8 years old. I had a classmate, and we were friends. We weren't best friends, but we were friends, And so one night I had a dream while I was in my bed sleeping before the next day of 4th grade.
That's a good memory.
Yeah, I think I was 8. I know I was 8 for sure. So, I I had a dream, and in that dream, it was like, it's almost like, I don't know if you remember the game Match. Remember Match? With the cards.
Cards. Memory. They called it also later on, right? Kind of like memory.
Yeah.
Memory. There were tiles.
Yes, memory.
In Match.
Memory.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So in the dream, I see these match cards or memory cards or whatever. It's like the cards from the game. And on each card had all of my classmates' faces on them. And my friend that the story's about, the light on his card went dark. And I don't know if it was the next day or 2 days later, he was riding his bike not far from his house, and a drunk driver ran over him and killed him. So,
was the dream really vivid? Like,
it was very vivid. Like, I remembered it. It freaked me out.
Yeah.
And then when that happened, it really freaked me out. Yeah.
That is intense.
That's the earliest thing I can remember.
He hasn't told me about that, listeners.
I've never told anybody about that.
Yeah, that's like, man, I can't imagine that happening. I just like, I see a lot of people that have been on the podcast. They've told me, like, most of them say that what unlocks it is a trauma of some sort. And I would say that, you know, that if you don't know if you experienced a trauma around that age, but that might have started unlocking things for you. Most of the people come on and say there was a trauma, and then you start having dreams of other people's traumas coming, you know, stuff like that. And I've noticed this, a lot of readers, psychics, or intuitives, energy workers, witches, whatever you want to call them, people who work with it all the time, do readings, you know, or just healing, energy healing, or anything like that. Like, all of them say they had trauma. All of them. Yeah. And then they had, like, awakening, they call it, or waking up their psychic skills or energy to protect themselves from happening again, basically. I would assume. I'm assuming that because I didn't have any trauma that I remember. Yeah. But it just that was the trauma when it started. You know, that was when it got really dramatic, when all that stuff started, because I didn't know what it was. Right. But what you're saying is, did you have a time where, like, did this continue for you after that? Did you have more dreams or anything like that?
Occasionally, yeah. Occasionally I would.
Were they about the more darker things like that, themes in life, like death? Because that's what I was getting at before. Most of them have had trauma, and it's like a lot of the darker themes in life come to them first.
Well, usually when I have, and I don't know that it's a premonition dream when I have it, but when the event happens and I reflect on it, it's usually, it's kind of a darker dream. You really don't know what the dream means when it happens. Right. And then when the event happens, then it's like, that's what that meant. Yeah. And well,
you do dream, and you do have nightmares a lot.
I do.
State nights. I'm getting serious. No, you do. You do have nightmares. I've woken you up a few times from your nightmares, and it's hard to wake you up from them. Yes. And, so maybe there is, like, and maybe it's something, and he also does this, like, twitch when he falls asleep a couple times. And it's weird. I always tell him it's like he's going through the stages of sleep. Yeah. Like, he's dropping through them and he's resisting it. No, I don't want to go. Or, yes, take me. No, he jumps. Like, he's jumping to, like, quantum leaps or something. Yeah. And,
I'm like, please, let me go to sleep.
Yeah. It's like, don't make me dream anymore. You do have you will talk in your sleep and you'll laugh sometimes. And you must have a very active, like, dream life. And most people will say that when they first became aware of stuff like this, it was either knowing stuff or seeing it in dreams. Yeah. You know, just like you're saying, did you ever have a time where you tried to work on that skill? Like maybe astral travel or anything, or lucid dream? Do you know what that is? Where you just kind of take control of your dream or anything?
No, not purposely. I will say, not long after the event I was talking about earlier, when I was a kid, I think my teachers recommended that my parents send me to, I'm not really sure what it was. It was the Board of Education building for the county. at the time, and I had to take some tests, like not written tests. Pretty much, you got an instructor and they ask you questions, and it wasn't like a psychiatrist or anything, but it was an IQ test. I don't know what I made. I don't remember, but
they had pulled you out.
It was probably pretty shitty.
I'm sure it was awful. It was only 198.
No,
didn't quite get that 200 mark.
I iced that because, like what I was saying earlier, I mean, you can have premonitions, but if you're like a full-on psychic, you have to have a high IQ,
or maybe that's how you. We've had people on the podcast talk about high IQ is accessing the Akashic records, having a good memory. Is the information field.
Yeah.
One man talked about. He did the Scalar Energy podcast. His name was Tom.
Yeah.
He talked about that. He utilizes that energy and he linked it up to a computer. You'd like that podcast.
Yeah.
I haven't sent him my picture yet, but I've been thinking about it. I just haven't done it. It kind of creeps me out, to be honest with you. I like computers, but still, it's like, do I want that information out there? I guess anybody can access it themselves. They can get it. But according, the Akashic Records is that information field that everyone has access to, and we're dreaming and we're sleeping. What a lot of people think is there.
Yeah.
Do you think that's there?
Yeah. No.
Then you pass every IQ test, like, you just have that information. That's what a lot of people say,
So let me ask you a question. Do you think it's possible for someone to be, not just intuitions, but someone to be like a brilliantly psychic and be a dumbass at the same time?
Well, I don't want to use the word dumbass, but like a savant.
A savant, okay.
He's not a dumbass, but he can't function except do a couple things really freaking well. We had someone on the podcast bring up savants, because he says they have access to that field.
Yeah.
Isn't that just kind of weird ways? I've never thought about it that way. I just thought, they're wired differently, but maybe they do have access, like a very special channel to music or very special, like dialed into math. Numbers, but they just can pick up, read it. They don't have to read the phone book. They just go to the Akashic Records or wherever that information field is and look at it.
Yeah.
They have access to one little part, like complete, and that's where they live there. It's kind of like the theory, like of that. So a dumbass, let me think about it. Most people pursue it if they can change their thoughts, then they're pretty smart. They're pretty intelligent. Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
And when I say dumbass, I don't mean any. What I'm saying is not. I'm not really talking about savants. I'm talking about maybe somebody that just. I think. Okay, let me put it like this. Maybe dumbass wasn't the right word. I'll just say this: someone who is really in tune with their psychic energy is probably someone who has a little understanding of deep science and physics and, math and
some do.
I suck at math.
Some do. Yeah.
I do suck at math.
Well, you might have had bad teachers. I think we had this conversation.
Yeah.
But, a lot, like some of the psychics I know are book smart, but they have the people who work in the field, they have I guess what they would call emotional intelligence, like emotional IQ.
Yeah.
But they get that from studying, a lot of reading, a lot of watching other people do stuff and making notes and really thinking about it.
Yeah.
Is that intelligence? I guess that would make them intelligent. They question everything. They're curious. They're really curious. And the people who don't have a trauma that wakes it up or brings it around, or they don't ever have it in their lives and they can pursue it and develop it fully. I've watched that happen too, which is just the coolest thing in the world. That is just the coolest to me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And there's many different forms of intelligence. Intelligence isn't necessarily an umbrella that you put all knowledge under.
True.
You can be the most intelligent person that ever lived at candle making or tuning a guitar, anything like that, or as a psychic,
Yeah.
I think I just rewind a little bit. I think what I'm saying about dumbass is somebody that has no intelligence in anything.
Or they don't choose to. They don't want to.
And the effort's not there. And then perhaps I would have a hard time trusting them if they said, hey, this might happen, or this, I just probably wouldn't take their word for anything.
Yeah, that's what you mean by a dumbass. I think you mean people he doesn't trust. Untrustworthy people who don't think for themselves.
Exactly.
Or they're only thinking of themselves. Yes, those are the dumbasses we're used to around here. Only thinking of one thing.
But, I mean, I love dumbasses. I mean, some of my best friends are dumbasses. But I love them.
Thank you, baby. So you just called me a dumbass. No, no, that's what that's funny. That's how dating ends badly. I'm just kidding. I'm just playing. No, you've brought up a point that nobody's ever brought up in this podcast: intelligence being a part of like either developing it or even naturally knowing what to do with it or even looking at it.
Yeah.
Because curiosity, I think, is the key to building intelligence. If you have no curiosity, or like you said, putting it into action, to me, that does seem dumbass not to want to do anything with your life unless there's something wrong, like you've got a medical problem and you can't help it.
True.
But there's people who just don't seem to be interested in anything, and I except themselves and what they can get or something. But sometimes, like a lot of times when I meet people like that, and I bet you do too, and it kind of ticks me off sometimes, because I'll see that their potential if they didn't just stay in that place, Mm-hmm. And I see they could get out of that place, and I could see how they could, but they have to do it. But, it's like the lead the horse to water thing, And it's like some people just don't know they are supposed to drink water, to survive. Maybe they just live a different way. I don't know. I just don't understand that concept. But like some people just don't want to think for themselves at all, or it's hard for them to try to.
Yeah.
I don't know why,
Well, curiosity is mankind's biggest vice.
It is.
But also biggest trait. Best trait.
I think it's the best too.
Without curiosity, I mean, where would mankind be? I mean, so, and I think that plays into metaphysics because it takes the curiosity to try to open your mind to that level. And
so some people they're just not that curious about what might happen.
No.
What might be out there. Then we'll be safe.
Right.
I guess it's safety.
Most people aren't.
Yeah.
Most people aren't.
Is that what you think it might be, like a safety issue or just a self-centered issue? I don't know.
Maybe they just don't think about it. Not everyone. Again, I'm not calling anybody a dumbass, but not everyone's mind goes that deep. Like some people are just like, do I want McDonald's or Burger King for lunch today?
And that's all they think.
Damn, who's this?
Chris, you sound like a telepath who knows what people are thinking. That's what you sound like to me. You might just know what people are thinking, and that's why you can call people dumbasses, because they aren't thinking. And you know it. And we've talked about telepathy on the podcast before a lot.
Yeah.
It's like one of the most listened to podcasts in our list, according to my statistics, is like a telepathy podcast. So, you probably are. The thing about telepathy is if you're a telepath, you will not know it unless you know it. Right. They're going to say you're going to avoid it. You're going to say you do it this way and this way and this way and this way and this way. And then you do all this perception and you pick up all these details in your mind.
Right.
No, you're reading people's minds. You're hearing their thoughts, but maybe not word for word. I think you do. I believe it. I believe it.
I can read body language really good.
Yeah.
And, they always say the eyes never lie. If you read,
but what does that mean, really? I've heard that. You brought that up. What does that mean? Yeah, how explain that? Is that something?
Well,
maybe spiritual or?
I think so, because when you look someone in the eyes, you're kind of looking into their soul. The windows of their soul, and the eyes will tell you a lot as far as if someone's being truthful, if someone is, I don't know, feeling
A dumbass?
A dumbass. You know, a lot of times you look somebody in the eyes and you might not really see anything there.
That's happened. Yeah, that's happened. Yeah, it's like wonder where it went. You know, for me, I wonder where it went, or was it ever out there? I don't know. Some people, you know, I wonder if it went somewhere. But some people are just like they don't have the curiosity. I guess you're right. That's a good way to put. It's the best way to put it. Well, Chris, like, is there anywhere that the listeners can like check out your band, your music, or anything like that? You got like,
yes, check us out on Reverb Nation. The band is called the Great Unwashed.
in Decatur, Alabama. I think, yeah. Is it? Yeah.
Decatur.
Yes. If you don't know where Decatur is, it's right by Decatur.
Decatur, Alabama.
Decatur. Welcome home. Date night. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Everclear. Everclear is an advice app where you can get advice from psychics and empaths so you can get the clarity you need to create the life you deserve. And thank you, Chris, so much for being on the podcast. And I guess we'll probably turn the lights on now and go home, right?
Yes. Yeah. We're out of it. We're about to blow this joint.
Yeah. We're old. We're going to blow this joint.
It's past our bedtime.
It is past our bedtime. Thank you, listeners, for always listening. And oh, by the way, there's a video podcast on Spotify, maybe on YouTube. We'll figure that out too. Thank you, listeners. Good night.